Today's topic, miscarriages and abortions from a different perspective. My husband is here to join us in this conversation. Honey?
Yes. Okay, so with this topic coming up, people might wonder, have we had individuals that have contacted us because they've had abortions and they want help with that?
No, in fact, no one's ever contacted us and said, hey, I've just had a miscarriage, can you help me? Or I've just had an abortion, I need help. They've never done that. It's come up normally because there's something happening to them, like maybe they have backache and it's a chronic thing, and what my husband is shown and told is that it's because of this abortion or this miscarriage that took place a while ago, years ago. However long it may be.
Not necessarily years ago. It could be
recent. It could be recent, too.
You're saying years ago because normally, well, so far, they've been years ago.
Yes.
But that's not necessarily the case.
True.
It could be any time.
Mm-hmm.
So now, from our experience, this is all from our experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
Someone comes and they say, well, I need help with chronic backache, or I have challenges with my reproductive system somehow.
Right.
And then I go and I check to see what the cause of the issue is, and then I'm told they had an abortion.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember my reaction the first time that happened?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
But I think you may have been shocked, because I remember being shocked, like, what? How could an abortion cause pain on a part of the body? And I think the first one wasn't even reproductive.
Well, I wasn't shocked by that part. I was surprised, but I was more stunned by how I was going to, or how we were going to communicate to somebody.
Oh yes, that's right. We have to call the individual and talk to them.
Right.
And tell them, this is what's happening, and this is due to this, miscarriage you had. Could you?
No, miscarriage I can deal with.
Abortion as well, right? The abortion one was.
Because it wasn't anything that we knew about. It's not like they disclosed it to us, so
right.
It was quite uncomfortable. Anyway, but what did we find out? Well, before we get to that, let's review, because I know we talked about this in one video. I don't recall which one, but I know we talked about how before a soul embodies, before a soul is born into this world, that soul is shown different things before they choose a parent. They're the ones that choose the parents, right? They choose us.
They're shown different life scenarios.
Exactly.
With different parents.
They decide which parents or what scenario they want to go deal with, what they want to balance.
Right.
So before they're even born, they already know what they'll deal with on earth. We all know. We're saying they, but we're talking about ourselves as well. It's just that when we pass through that veil of forgetfulness, we don't remember until we get closer to the Supreme Being. As we get closer, then we remember what our purpose is.
Right.
What are we supposed to do? Right? So knowing that these souls already have a plan, they already have a purpose before they're born, that's an important thing to keep in mind when we're talking about abortion and miscarriages.
Okay.
Why do you think that is?
Because with a miscarriage, from our experience, normally it's the soul of the child who decides to leave for various reasons, versus the aborted soul is basically being told, I don't want you through the abortion process. And that's confusing for that soul.
Not that maybe they don't want the child, it's more like it's not the right time.
Right. Well, I was thinking in the case of like rape, where normally a lot of women don't even want the child.
It's not necessarily they don't, that might be the way they feel. But that thing haunts them for years to come. Even though when you look at the circumstances, maybe they shouldn't feel that way, but they still do because it's part of them,
What
right?
happened, yes.
So to me, it's all about wrong timing. The timing just isn't right. But because these souls have a purpose, that's where the issue is when it comes to the spirituality or the spiritual perspective. And these are things that we don't think about. So now in this world of ours, everyone is told that, when I say everyone, I'm including the male that's involved, even though they don't carry
The child.
the child, but hopefully they're involved, right? They're told that there are two options that exist normally. You know, when a pregnancy is involved, what are the two options that you have? You either want the birth to take place, or you'll get
Oh, right.
birth,
You
you'll
either
keep the
want to
child.
have the child or you want to terminate it somehow.
Okay, but what options are people given?
You mean at birth?
No, just if someone is pregnant, what options are they given?
They're told keep the child, have an abortion, or give the child for adoption.
Right? Those are the options that
Okay.
they're given. All right, now, when I say options that they're given, normally if they're going to keep the child, that's not an option, that's the decision they already made. Got it? And I say, oh, that's not an issue, we've been waiting for our child and we're happy, and so that's not a big deal. It's the other two options, correct? The option has to do with, okay, well, the timing is off. And at this moment, we're not ready to have a child. That's what we're talking about, right?
Right.
So the options come down to then you either give birth to the child, the female gives birth to the child, and then give the child up for adoption because, of course, you're not ready to rear this child for one reason or another, or there's an abortion. Correct?
Right.
Those are two options. Well, in the spiritual realm, there's a third option, and that's the option that is never really talked about openly. I feel very sure that other individuals that deal with the spiritual realm talk about this, but it's not something that's discussed anywhere else. And that third option is where, because you know that the child can hear you, you can communicate with the soul at any time, and if you don't know that, yes, before a soul is born, they're already communicating with you in different ways, you know, and because they can communicate with you, you can communicate with them. So if the timing is off, you can always just sit down, you know, do it whichever way you feel comfortable, light some candles, whichever way makes you feel comfortable, and then just explain to the soul why the time is not right. You know, just let the soul understand, or explain to the soul, finances, whatever it might be, abusive relationship, whatever the challenge might be, right?
Right.
And let them understand, I don't want you to be born into this type of environment. You know, the timing is not right. It's not that I don't love you, you know, you're loved, but I want to protect you. I want to make sure that I take the best care of you that I can. And you explain all that to the soul more than likely will terminate the pregnancy because the soul understands that the timing was off. No hard feelings, you know, no karma created because it's a decision that was made by both parties.
Got it.
See, and all of a sudden there's a miscarriage. The soul goes back to heaven and waits. If you told the soul, well, you know, how about if you come back in a couple of years, or you know, give me a chance to rebound or get my act together. The soul will do that. And so there's no abortion. You notice that, and you don't have to go through the full birth and then give your child away or give the child up for adoption. You don't need to do that either. You communicate with and then in many cases the female that do that, as much as they know they're doing the right thing for the child, they go through a lot because it was their child. They carried this soul for what, 9 months in many cases, right?
Right.
If it's full term. So that they become a wreck in many cases as well. So that third option is there. We just talk to them. And then in many times they will understand and they will just say, okay, I'll try another time. So that's the third option, first of all, right? Now let's go into if a miscarriage takes place or if an abortion takes place, what really happens in the spiritual realm?
Good question.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
So let's start with the one where the child understands, you've sat down, you spoke to, you communicated with the soul, and the soul passes, soul, there's a miscarriage. It goes back. What happens in a case like that? How does it affect the female and the male that's involved, if a male was involved as far as with that conversation? Because the soul felt loved and everything was explained to the soul, the energy is withdrawn, the soul returns. It's as if though nothing ever happened.
Okay.
So the male and female are fine. There is no leftover energy, no negative energy there. Because there was a mutual understanding as to why things have to be postponed. Are you with me so far?
I'm with you. I'm following.
Okay. What do you think happens in a case where there's a miscarriage, but there's no communication about that? Now, where now the miscarriage has to do more with the soul looking at the situation that it's about to be born into and saying, well, that's not what I thought it was going to be. That scenario has changed, and I'm not ready to go into that. I'd rather wait or find different parents because obviously they're not ready. You know, as loving as they are, and they might have great intentions, but they're just not ready. And me being born into that family, or me being born to those parents, will only create more challenges for them, which is not fair.
Right.
That's one scenario.
Well,
right?
If the parents wanted that child, wouldn't they hold the child back from leaving? I mean, even though there would be a miscarriage, if they were grieving and saying, oh, we're so sad, we want that child, even though the child decided they didn't want to be in that situation?
Well, we're not to that point yet.
Oh,
we're just talking
I'm sorry.
about the child deciding whether or not it's going to be born.
I got ahead. I apologize.
Okay.
Okay, so what's the next scenario?
Patience is a virtue. Ever seen that commercial with that rabbit? Right? It was some commercial, I think, Next Quick or something.
Nesquik.
I don't know, something
Rabbit.
like that. A rabbit. He was drinking some drink, and then at the end he says, patience is a virtue. I never drank the drink, but I just thought the commercial was
I don't remember Nesquik commercials.
Oh, okay. I saw it in America. Anyway.
Okay then.
You can go do a YouTube video on it. Anyway, so now the child decides to pull out because the scenario just doesn't look good. Child leaves. I mean, ends the pregnancy.
Right. So there's
All
a
right?
miscarriage.
Now let's go back to what you were saying. Because the parents don't understand what just happened. Right? They want the child. They want
Right.
the child to be born. And now there's a miscarriage. Then what do?
They grieve and want to hold on to that child, make a memorial for their kid or whatever they do to get through their grieving process.
So what do you think happens there?
They're holding the child back from
The
going
soul,
and moving
not
out.
the
The soul.
child,
They're holding
right.
the soul from back from moving forward and being able to do what they need to do.
That's possible. Because the soul feels like it has to be around, right?
Right.
Now it knows the conditions are not right, so it's not going to choose to be born because they never communicated that to the soul to say, you know what, things might not look right, but don't worry, we'll take care of things, and start explaining how they would correct whatever the concern is that soul might have. But because they don't know that that possibility is there, then they don't talk about it.
Okay.
You know, and so of course then they are devastated by what they consider a loss, when it really isn't a loss. It's a blessing in disguise, because sooner or later that soul will come back. When more than likely the soul will come back, or a different soul will come once they see that conditions have improved. See?
Okay.
But if they hold on to the soul, then yes, it will stay there, and that can affect them moving forward, not the soul, but even the parents moving forward. They might wind up not liking each other anymore. Even the relationship might even suffer. You know, and all because of the energy that's there, that's left by the soul, because of the grieving that they were having for that soul.
Got it.
So that's one scenario. The next scenario is, well, what if it's a pregnancy where, like, what do you call it, ectopic pregnancy? What if it's one of those? What happens in a case like that, do you think?
Oh, that's a good one. I would hope, well, a lot of times they encourage the mothers to abort the child because of the situation,
It's dangerous,
how
right?
dangerous it is.
Exactly.
But I also know of women who actually had miscarriages, thank God, because of the nature of the pregnancy. So I would think in those cases that maybe the soul saw what was going on and decided, no, this is not right, this is not good for the mother or me, and I should leave.
Well, that's one. If there's a miscarriage there, right? But it could also be that with the miscarriage, that the soul didn't plan on leaving. It just so happens that it happened there. All right? And so, if that's the case, and the soul really wanted to stay, but because of where it happened, biologically, things won't work out, then that soul will still hang around because the soul wanted to stay. It's not the soul said, I changed my mind. It's just that the biological situation didn't allow the birth to take place.
We actually have an example of that with an individual that we worked with who had experienced a miscarriage from an ectopic pregnancy, and a short while after everything settled down with her physically and with the family, then she went to check on her kids one night, and in the hallway she thought she saw her son walking away from her. And when she blinked and looked again, he wasn't there, so she went into her son's room to check on him, and he was laying in bed sleeping. So she called us and let us know what took place, and it turned out to be that this child who had just gone through the miscarriage was still hanging around. And so
we were told that.
We were told that, right?
Okay.
So we relayed that to her and let her know what it is that she should do to help that soul to move on or do whatever it needed to do next.
And so that's because of that's similar to dying suddenly, where you think you're still alive. It's very similar to that.
Okay.
So that's miscarriage. That's how miscarriages work. A lot of the time, if they're hanging around, it could be, there could also be a miscarriage where the soul feels like it's not wanted. So if there's a mother who is expecting, right? She's pregnant, and then she has all these negative thoughts, like, this was not a good idea. This is
How am I going to handle it?
Exactly.
What's going to take place?
That's correct. So now the soul wants to be there, but the soul doesn't feel loved, doesn't feel wanted. Because of that, there's a miscarriage, but the soul stays. The energy from the soul stays there. It doesn't go anywhere. It's not like you had a choice to leave.
Right.
It was forced to. You didn't want to be born to that parent that saw the soul or the potential child as a misfortune or as something that would hold her back or hold them back, male and female, the mother and father, whatever that is.
Right.
That relationship. And so then it hangs around. It doesn't go. And then what you'll see in that case is where that person is affected, or both people that were involved with that pregnancy are affected in negative ways because of that. And it could be anything from, as you know by now, some type of illness, some type of chronic, and it's normally a chronic condition, right?
Right.
That happens. But we've also seen, there was one individual with animals and
Right, I was about to
children.
say, I think, and in that case, the woman wasn't even sure if she had a miscarriage. She thought she might have been pregnant, and things were, because it was so close to having had another child, that she wasn't sure if she had a miscarriage or not. But a long time later, when we were working with her, it turned out that she did have a miscarriage, and the soul of the child was still there hanging around. And for years, this woman, she swore that animals and children just hated her. Even though she had kids of her own, she's like, oh, kids and animals, they just hate me. They never come near me. They never want to be with me. But after the discovery of this miscarriage and work that was done to help her through that, to help that soul move on, all of a sudden, we got a call. The dog came and sat in my lap and won't leave me alone. children come up to me and talk to me now. They want to sit on me and play with me. So her life just changed completely when it came to that aspect.
So until it happens, until it gets cleared, and that's after she did what she was supposed to, right?
Right.
You don't really know how it affects you sometimes. So until we're told how it affects you, affects somebody. Now, abortions, quick thing about abortions, is very similar in effects, except that this time the souls normally hang around because there is no mutual agreement about them leaving.
Right.
They were not given a choice. And I've seen cases where they're really angry, you know? It's like, no, you have to explain to me what took place here because I did everything I was supposed to. Why did you do this to me? Right? And
yes.
We've talked about that.
We have.
So in cases like those, that's when the effects are really chronic. You know, they show because with miscarriages they're not that bad.
Right.
You know? But with abortions, they could be really bad, and they could
could be
last for a long time.
debilitating, right?
I don't know about debilitating, but they could be really bad. You know, they could be really bad. So I know we've had conditions where they're normally health conditions, and they last a while, and they could be almost anything.
Right.
You know, and that's the thing. Until we're told that it's because of an abortion, we wouldn't know.
Right. We
Because
have no idea.
it could be diabetes, and we've seen diabetes where it's because of other things. All of a sudden, there's diabetes because of an abortion. Like, really? But once we're shown how, then we see how it makes sense.
Right.
There are also cases where these same souls stay in the uterus, and then they disallow any other soul to come in and to be born. So it literally forces that in the female, where she's not able to have any children.
Right.
Because this other one is making sure that it doesn't take place. Because of that's the way it happened. You know, they still think they're alive because it was a sudden death.
Right. Because that anger, they're preventing the mother to move on.
So the thing is that, yes, the abortion and miscarriage might have taken place and it looks like that's the end of it. There are still energies that are left that have to be dealt with. Now, how do they handle that?
Typically, they're given some statements or a prayer to say, and they're guided by us, right? And then they're guided as to how to talk to the soul of the child in order to help that child, the soul, to move on. And then sometimes it could take a little while, maybe a few months. I don't know how long they've taken beyond that, but.
You're the one that normally communicates with them, so I don't know.
Right. I think it's been as quick as just a few weeks to a few months.
And I know in the beginning there were a couple of times where they had to take certain homeopathic remedies as well.
Right. Sometimes guidance comes through because on the physical level things need to be taken care of in a different way.
Have to be cleaned, the inside, right? So.
I hope this video has shed some light on a different perspective to this topic. And if it has helped you or you think it might help someone else, please share this video. Remember to subscribe and like. Find us on Facebook at Clearing, Healing, and Guidance and Instagram at 190 Vision.